All right, we saw this with the circles. What do we do with something like this that is not in standard form? In fact, this would be called general form, but it's very useless as far as identifying the key pieces of information that we need. So we're going to have to do completing the square. Same process, a little bit different towards the end, and I'll indicate that. So I've gone ahead and I've grouped my x's, grouped my y's, and moved my constant over to the other side. All right, so my next step is going to be, remember the lead coefficient has to be 1, so I'm going to factor out my 25 on the x terms, and that leaves me with x squared plus 6x. On my y terms, the coefficient of y squared is 4, so I'll factor out a 4. It's nice that it goes in evenly with 16, but remember it doesn't have to. But we're thankful it does. And then that equals negative 141. All right, so we say half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. I'll add 9 here. And then 25 times 9 is 225, so that gets added to this side. If you don't know what I'm doing, then you didn't watch the circles videos and you need to go back and do that. All right. Now let's take a look at the y's. Half of negative 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. And then 4 times 4 is 16. So we'll add 16 here. All right. So now I have 25 times x plus 3, quantity squared, plus 4 times y minus 2, quantity squared, is equal to negative 141 plus 225 plus 16, I think is 100, but I'm going to make sure. Indeed, 100. Here's where we get different from the circles. Remember, this number has to be 1. So your last step is to divide by whatever that number is on both sides. So we'll divide here on the right, that's the easy part. Here on the left, not as easy. So 25 goes into 25 once, into 104 times. That's x plus 3, quantity squared, over 4. 4 goes into 4 once, into 125 times, y minus 2, quantity squared, over 25. And that is equal to 1. Please do not make the assumption that, oh, they always just switch. That is just a coincidence. It does happen, but it doesn't always happen. So please don't think that is the case. All right, now we're in graphing form. Now we're ready to identify the key pieces of information. The center would be at negative 3, 2. I know you said it before I did, I can just tell. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So there's my center. Now, remember, I'm not worried about who's A and who's B. In my world, I just go left and right, up and down. So square root of 4 is 2. So away from this center, I'll go 2 to the left and 2 to the right. Square root of 25 is 5. I will go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will sketch this in. We have a vertical major axis. Let's keep that in mind. Remember, why is that important? For our foci later. All right, so the center is at negative 3, 2. Now we have our vertices, which is the endpoints of our major axis. Those are located at negative 3. I was at 2 and I went up 5. It's kind of hard for me to tell, so that must be 7. Negative 3, 7. And then this is at negative 3, negative 3. For my minor axis endpoints, those are going to be my horizontal ones this time because they are shorter, they're smaller. And those are here and here. That's at negative 1, 2. and at, let's see, I was at -3 and I went to the left 2, so that must be -5, 2. Now for the foci. My major axis is vertical, it's going up and down, so that tells me I'm going to go up and down away from my center. I'm going to go c squared equals, okay, if you must label, the bigger number is always A, there's B. Just do 25 minus 4. We'd have c squared is equal to 21. C is equal to the square root of 21, which is about 4.6. It's very similar to our last ellipse. So I'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4.6, down 1, 2, 3, 4.6. There are my foci. Now my foci, when I go to label them, I don't want to use my decimal approximation. I need to use my correct value, which is square root of 21. Keep in mind I moved away from the center. Did I move left or right, or did I move up and down? I moved up and down because that's how my major axis was. So it affects the y value. Notice the x values of all these points, they're all the same. They're all -3. The y value is what changed. I was at 2, but I went up and down the square root of 21. So that's the location of my foci.